You're not good enough. You're worthless. You're never going to make it. Does this sound familiar? If yes, then welcome to this video where I'm going to teach you how to stop being so tough on yourself, how to stop judging yourself all the time. Would you ever say you're worthless to one of your friends? Would you ever say that they're not good enough? Would you ever say that they're never going to make it? Now, these phrases you wouldn't say not even to your toughest enemies, if you have any. But weirdly enough, we're directing these phrases towards ourselves on a day-to-day basis. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Coach Theo. I post weekly tips on living a happier, more productive life. So make sure to subscribe if you take your personal development seriously. Now, first of all, why are we so tough on ourselves? Well, if you look around, there's a self-improvement craze going strong for years. Everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to be more productive. We're reading books, listening to podcasts, you name it. We're stuck in this loop of trying to improve ourselves, trying to measure our performance, and it's not contributing to our well-being. Also, who said that the purpose of life is a never-ending loop of improvement, trying to get better, implementing habits and measuring everything and taking notes and then posting it? It's too much. I think it's too much. Another problem is that the standards that we use to compare ourselves with others are not realistic. And these are kind of the inputs that we use to improve ourselves, to get better. We try to get better by comparing ourselves with what we see in the media, with what we see on Instagram, with what we see on LinkedIn, on Facebook, you name it. Most of the times we have an unrealistic standard of comparison because what we see there is not an actual representation of reality. It's just a small distorted view of that person's competence, energy, amazing life, you name it. The moment you forgo these unrealistic comparisons that you have with other people in your life, you'll see that you'll start feeling way better. Unfortunately, a lot of people, me included, have been raised by judgmental parents. And if that's the case, I'm sorry for you. It happened. The only good thing that you can do for your life is to move on, accept it, seek some help if the wound is too strong enough and it causes discomfort, it prevents you from having the life that you want. If you don't get intentional about the programs that are running in the back of your mind, without you noticing, you'll always be on the verge of disappointment without knowing why. There's also a famous quote from Carl Jung that explains this perfectly. And it goes like this: until you make the subconscious conscious, it will forever run your life. And you will call it fate. So get intentional about the programs that you use to relate to yourself, get intentional about your self-talk, and understand where is the judgment coming from. So in a nutshell, these are the main causes of self-judgment, of negative judgment that I see a lot in my practice as a coach. Now, how to overcome them, how to get better? Well, first of all, escape the self-improvement trap. Stop living your life just for the sole purpose of getting better. Life, it's a lot about getting better. It's a lot about having a positive impact in society, but it's not only about that. It's also about relationship. It's about spontaneous joy. It's about getting lost in activity that you like doing just for the sake of doing it, without any point of having an impact or getting better or, making money out of it. Second tip is to be aware of the negative self-talk that occurs in your mind. And we can spend a few hours just on this topic, so let's be specific. Usually a lot of people have negative expectations about their performance and they verbalize them in their self-talk in statements such as, I'm just not good at public speaking, for example. And what you could do in such a situation is to analyze this belief that you have about yourself and come up with arguments in favor and arguments against this belief. So in favor of this belief would be something like, I don't feel comfortable when I do it. I compare myself to other people and they're way better than me. I got a bad experience when I was young, so I made a fool of myself speaking publicly. This is kind of a decent list of points why this belief should be true. At the same time, start with a list of counter arguments why this belief doesn't make sense, why it's not grounded in reality. Well, you could say that most new things feel uncomfortable at the beginning. Maybe you're not as good as other people now, but you can improve. And there will always be people better than you at certain things. There's just a fact of life that you need to accept. Also, what happened in the past happened in the past. We can't assume that the future will be like the past. It's good to always seek alternative explanations for these negative beliefs that we have in our mind. By virtue of our self-talk, we get to choose which side we amplify. Whether the negative one, in which we consolidate such a belief and we come with all the reasons why this belief is true, or the positive side, in which we come with alternative explanations, different ways of seeing things that are more constructive, that are empowering, that give us energy to do the thing that we want to do nevertheless. But rest assured, I'll address the topic of limiting beliefs in an upcoming video. So I'm super new at this, but feel free to comment if you have any suggestions for the upcoming video. I want to make this a community and I would love to hear from you. Third and final point, have a decent approach for evaluating your performance. I realized with my clients and also with myself that a lot of judgmental thoughts come because we want to know whether we're doing the right thing. We want to evaluate our performance. So this loop of thoughts that we experience on a day-to-day basis is actually an effort that we're making to know whether we're on the right path or not. It's just us trying to confirm whether we're doing the right thing in our dating life, in our career, in our hobbies, you name it. This process definitely makes sense because you would like to know whether you're on the right path or not. But at the same time, this process isn't reflective of your true performance. It happens just in your mind. It's subjective. It depends a lot on the state that you're in, and it's completely biased. So what you could do is to create a proper performance evaluation routine in which you sit down, you examine the relevant dimensions of your life, and you evaluate your performance based on some clearly defined metrics. That can be anything depending on the life, hobbies, work you're doing. For example, myself as a coach and a consultant, I kind of keep track of my clients, of course, my sessions, my sales, how many offers I made, what was the response to these offers, how many warm clients I have, and also the content, the community that I'm building, the interactions that we have together. These are the key things that I measure on a weekly basis. And then if I have a clear understanding of my performance on a weekly basis, I'm not tempted to engage in this self-talk, in this judgmental talk, in which I'm always comparing myself with unrealistic standards or with other people, and I end up in this loop of never-ending comparison, judgment, you're not good enough, you could do more, blah, blah, blah. Just compare this week with last week, this month with last month, this year with last year. And that's the most accurate and the only comparison that makes sense. Comparing yourself today with yourself at a point in the past. Every person has a unique set of experiences, and a comparison between two different individuals doesn't make sense at all. So quickly wrapping up, if you want to stop judging yourself all the time, you should escape the self-improvement trap. Start doing things for the sake of doing them. Go have some fun. Don't always have an agenda. Second, be mindful of your self-talk and understand how limiting beliefs work. Try to seek alternative explanations. Try to view yourself from a different angle. Try to embrace constructive ways of seeing reality that empower you and that make you do the thing that you want to do, even though you don't trust yourself at the beginning. And thirdly, have a clear performance evaluation routine in which you examine your life on a few relevant dimensions to keep track of your progress on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis. So there you have it, the perspective of a coach. My job is to listen to people all day long. That's what I do. I ask questions, I listen, and I try to see through biases. And these are the main things that I see people encounter in the area of self-judgment. Do apply the thoughts. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and hope to see you soon again.